Our whole universe was in a hot, dense state.
Hello once again, watchers of Good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, today I'm going to be talking about the Big Bang Theory Season 7 finale, along with that, the majority of Season 7 as well. So if you're not caught up with Big Bang Theory through Season 7, and you don't care about spoilers, you can keep watching this, but if you do, probably stop here, go watch it, and then come back and finish watching this video. Season 6 left us off with Leonard off in the North Sea doing science-y experiments of sorts on things that I don't understand. He shows up very quickly. Over the time that he is gone, Penny and Sheldon grow accustomed to each other. They just become better friends, essentially. So that kind of relationship and tension is a little bit evaporated. Not entirely, but more than it was originally. Raj and his girlfriend Lucy also break up. So that's another thing that is dealt with throughout the season itself. Raj kind of dealing with his feelings for her and then also trying to find another girlfriend in the process. A little bit further into the season, Penny decides to quit her job at the Cheesecake Factory. Now this is a setting which is very significant for the show, just for the fact that this is where a lot of the show has somewhat taken place. It's just been a fact that Penny has worked in the Cheesecake Factory, and she's a waitress there, and that's just what she did while she was trying to pursue a career in acting. Obviously, she is just fed up with it at this point, and so she decides to quit her job so that she can fully invest her time into the acting career, and Leonard is eventually really supportive of it, but at first he was very hesitant about it because she isn't the best actress in the world. But yeah, he is eventually really supportive about it because it's what she wants to do. Kind of the biggest shocker of the season is the fact that Sheldon and Amy kissed finally. After dating for like 2 years or something, they finally kissed for the first time, and probably the last time too. But they kiss on a train when Sheldon's just having his big breakdown. He wants to do something spontaneous, and so he decides to kiss Amy, and he ends up kind of liking it, so he keeps kissing her. And that's kind of the last of that bit of sexual tension there. It's obvious that Amy wants something along these lines to actually happen and continue to happen as they are, but the only real inquiry that this could actually happen is the fact that Sheldon says sometime in the season that he and Amy could potentially in the future have some sort of physical relationship. And so it might be a little bit of foreshadowing. I don't know when this will ever happen just because of Sheldon's kind of asexuality in terms of many things. We'll see how the show progresses in the next few seasons. Kind of getting more towards the end of the season now, just because every episode of The Big Bang Theory is essentially the same kind of formula. There's a funny situation in which the gang is introduced to, and then they are involved in that situation, and then they move on to the next episode with a very broad, overarching story which kind of moves forward with each episode. I'm not really going to touch on everything, obviously, because there's not a whole lot to touch on. But if there's anything that I am not mentioning that you want to hear my thoughts on, feel free to comment below and I will definitely try to answer those for you. Raj decides to start dating a girl named Emily. He eventually tries to date Lucy and Emily at the same time. This does not work out. Emily is actually very, very attractive. That might partly be because I have a thing for redheads, but she is a very attractive lady, and I give props to Raj for that. So they end up developing something of a relationship. They go through a few ups and downs, but by the end of the season, they're actually going pretty well. And so it'll be interesting to see how long Emily sticks around, and I would love to see her as a continuing cast member, just because she seems like an interesting character to get to know. Sheldon decides to quit focusing on string theory for the first time. This is something that he's been actively researching for the last 7 seasons, so the fact that he is now deciding that he should quit focusing on it just because he's made very little progress over the however many years he's actually been focusing on it, he's coming to this realization, and it just kind of shatters his world because he wants to move on to a different field, but the university is not letting him move on to a different field because it's what he's been doing for so long. And so he's in that kind of a pickle of a situation. And that gets even worse in the penultimate episode when Leonard and Penny get engaged. And this is obviously a very exciting moment because they've been kind of teasing the idea for about a season now when Leonard said, "You can ask me to marry you, I won't ask you to do it anymore." And so they've been kind of throwing the idea around for the whole season, and then it finally happens. And it was originally a bit anticlimactic, and then it kind of gets better and better as the scene progressed. I'll be looking forward to seeing that. My guess is that the season 8 finale will be the wedding. I don't know for sure, but that would be a really good way to do it, I suppose. And now I'm going to talk about the finale, the season 7 finale of The Big Bang Theory. So if you have not seen tonight's episode, probably don't watch this unless you don't care about spoilers, as I said earlier in the video. So a lot of the episode focuses on two different parts of the story. First is that Sheldon is becoming so overwhelmed with all of these changes which are happening in his life, and he likes to keep things as consistent as possible. So the fact that he is changing his career from string theory to something else, he has to deal with Leonard and Penny moving in together, and without him, he has to deal with the comic book store, which ends up being burned down just in a random fire. That incident is happening, so all these things kind of overwhelm him, and he forces him to just leave and get some time alone for, well, the break in between season 7 and 8. So he's doing that, and so that's how they're going to kind of bridge that gap. There's always at least one character which goes off onto some sort of journey or event at the end of every season, so it'll just be interesting to see what they do for 8, 9, 10. And the second half was kind of just a minor thing. Howard and Bernadette are trying to find a house sitter for his mother because she hurt herself somehow. I don't remember how exactly, but she hurt herself, and so she needs to be taken care of. And they go through numerous types of people to try to find someone who can actually handle his mother. And so it ends up being Stewart after the events of the comic book store burning down. He takes the job, and because he's so used to the criticism and the self-loathing, that he actually enjoys taking care of Howard's mother, and it's just really funny, coincidental scene which takes place. Yeah, that happened. That was essentially season 7 in a nutshell. I didn't cover everything, like I said, but that is the season. I enjoyed it. I watched it as I could. I'd never really watched it live except for the finale. Yeah, it's still funny. I still enjoy it as much as I could enjoy it at this point. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with their extended 3 seasons. I would like to see them try to wrap things up in season 10, just because I don't want the show to keep going and going and going and just end up running out of humor. By the end of it, we're going to have all 4 individuals married, all 4 of the main male characters married, and I don't know what they'll do from that point on unless they're going to divorce somebody. That's my thoughts on season 7. Leave yours down in the comments down below if you so choose. I appreciate it very much immensely. Make sure to go buy my short story called The Bridge down in the description down here. There will be a link for Amazon right there for you to buy it. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.
The earth began to cool, the autotrophs began to drool, Neanderthals developed tools, we built a wall. We built the pyramids. Math, science, history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a big bang.